So like all your energy, almost all your energy,
are you recording?
Goes into that. Yes, I'm recording.
I looked at the screen.
Now we're like
it's better than nothing, right?
We're like half an hour
over,
in, and now you're like,
and because I looked this direction, I didn't see the red timer, and I was like,
yeah, I'm recording.
Okay, sorry. Continue.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hey,
how's it going?
It's going.
Yeah.
Who's our guest today?
We got nobody. So
you're stuck with us.
Yeah, and we have all these great topics and so much to share with you,
but we can't.
We can't yet. Probably like mid-June.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wonder. Well, and
we'll probably do a little earlier.
Yeah, we might.
We might do it earlier.
Yeah.
So like early June. So like one more month. Just bear with us. One more month.
Are we gonna make it that long?
Huh?
We're gonna make it that long.
We have.
I wonder.
We really have to.
But I wonder if they know. If they've been listening for a while, they probably
a few people.
Have a guess
they have a good. Yeah. They have a good guess as to what it is.
Yeah.
But we can't discuss it yet. We need a few more things to finalize.
We were sitting on the couch last night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're trying to figure out what to talk about. Right. And I'm like, if we just talked about it, we'd have a ton to talk about.
For us, it's the elephant in the room.
It is.
And I'm sorry. I know this is killing a lot of you who have no idea what we're talking about, and we can't yet. But so that's part of the reason why we have no guests, because it's been really crazy behind the scenes and everything. And
so also that's another good time to say bear with us. It might be a lot of us. It might be a lot of us just kind of winging it. I mean, we're winging it now. We're not recording on a normal day. We did a live last week because we didn't have a guest.
And it was Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but and we hadn't done one in a while, so it was perfect. But I mean, we need to record again in a few days, and I don't know what we're going to talk about or who's going to be on. It'll be a surprise for everyone.
It's also like who can work around our schedule
and the last minute bookings.
Right. So bear with us. It might be just us for a little bit until we can get our bearings again and things calm down.
Yeah.
But it is very exciting.
I forgot to print out the damn
the
patrons. Yeah. next week, which is
we got you next
literally
week.
A few days from now. But yeah.
So we are going to talk about marketing strategies, kind of.
Yeah, and just I guess it's diversifying. I don't know, but not having all of your eggs in one basket.
Right.
So that, when we'll talk about the pros and cons to doing that, because I definitely know some of the pros and I definitely know some of the cons. And some of this is even going to be like, don't do what I did.
Right.
It's going to be learn from me, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing.
Right.
Cause I think in some ways I definitely haven't diversified enough. And in other ways I've done a little too much. I've spread myself a little thin. And because I do so many things, not all of them can be like top or like top performers.
Right.
Because, and that's my file shop. When I create a file, designing. It's random and sporadic. And, most of my files are at least a year old, if not older. Thankfully, a lot of them live on and are still somewhat selling. So it's a little bit of, a trickle of $30 here, $30 there. Sometimes I think it was last weekend I got like an $80 deposit from the weekend, and I was like, woo!
Right. Yeah.
and that used to be like normal or low for me over a weekend.
Yeah, I remember seeing you on the couch just drawing on the iPad. And creating designs and stuff.
And I do want to get back to that. Definitely that is the goal, because I do really I love making files. I don't love testing, photographing, and listing them.
Right.
But yeah, so basically, so I hear a lot of people talk. I mean, I was one of those people. I remember when I posted in the group once and I said, should I do Etsy or my own website? And I remember Mark with Big Blue commenting, saying, why not both? And both was like, it was too overwhelming for me at the time. But it makes sense. There's a lot of positives to Etsy, and one being that you don't necessarily have to do all the marketing yourself.
Right.
They have the platform that people just automatically go to when they need a laser file or handmade unique products, whatever. And so that's already built in, so you don't have to do that yourself. With a website, you 100% you have all that traffic you have to go out and get, and so that can be difficult. But on the flip side, the cons to Etsy are you run by their rules. Sometimes their rules are a little annoying. Sometimes the way they apply them is not ideal. A lot of sellers, including me, don't think that they really support the sellers like they should. They're more, I don't even know how to say it. It feels like they say that they care, but it doesn't feel like it. The actions don't feel like it. Because I've heard people getting shut down for something and getting a hold of Etsy. You'll literally call them and ask them, hey, what's going on? And say, I can't say anything further. And they'll hang up on you. And that's insane to me that a company can do that. And that it can take weeks and months to get your account back just because, I don't know, maybe someone hacked it or like whatever. So it just, they feel a little untouchable. There's you can't find the number easily. You kind of have to know someone who did all the dirty work and found the phone number, because they don't make it easy to find, stuff like that.
Yeah, they probably feel like you need them more than they need you. So
and also the side of trademark and copyright. The trademark and copyright stuff is rampant on Etsy, and their stance, which I understand, but their stance is they won't take it down unless the trademark owner or copyright owner reports it, and then they take it down. But what happens is there's thousands and millions of Disney and all that other stuff, and they're reaping that reward of all of those fees that they collect on each sale, and then they're not going to pull it down until Disney finds it.
Until they find it.
And so
and it makes those who are playing fair.
Exactly.
It makes
because
it tough.
It's like, oh, well, this shop will sell me something Disney, but you won't, because you're trying to play by the rules when everyone else isn't. And if you're new, you may not understand the rule, because I remember when I was new, if I bought the file on Etsy, then it'll say in the terms, I have commercial rights to this file. Well, if you're new and you don't understand, you can type whatever the heck you want in that listing. That doesn't mean that I actually have commercial rights. And that means if Disney finds me before they find the file seller, they don't give a shit if I thought that I bought it legally or not. Yeah. So that's definitely some of the cons to it. My website, I have Shopify, and I've been very, very, very pleased with Shopify so far. Their customer service is awesome. I've never left their customer service feeling dissatisfied, or that I didn't get what I was looking for. I didn't get my answer. The chat, it's usually pretty quick. They'll, ask you if you have additional questions. Then, they send you the chat afterwards. And if you decide you have additional questions, you can reply to that chat in your email and get even more help. And so I really love that. But again, you do have to then put in the work of directing people to that website.
That's what I would say. For those who don't know, do they have any sort of marketing or is it anything?
No,
I've heard
it's not
Shopify, but
so Etsy is like a marketplace. Shopify is not.
No, but I was wondering if they had ad deals. You can run ads through them to a Facebook or a Google. Or
I don't
something
think so. You'd probably just run a Google ad or a Facebook ad.
So they just facilitate your website.
Yeah, they're just the host, I guess you call it.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte. Anything matte. And I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it.
But the other side of that, talking about getting shut down on Etsy, there was a couple times I've heard of very high ranking Etsy shops that get shut down for some reason. Maybe it's reviews, or maybe they got behind and shipping times were not, acceptable, or whatever reason. If that gets shut down and you don't have a website to direct these customers to, you're done. And so, as someone I know trying to start a website from scratch, it's not easy. Right. So especially when you've just been shut down, and say maybe you don't have all of those listing descriptions, ready and saved. And if your shop is gone, it's not like you can go copy them or whatever. So, and like my file shop, it's definitely something I have on my list to get added to my website, just in case. Even if I don't push the file sales on my website, having that backup just in case something happens, I really need to myself do that, because I have 186 files. I don't want to type out 186 new listings and all that information that goes with it, and what did I use, and uploading all those photos and all that stuff. And so doing it before something happens will be huge, because again, if you're doing it after something happens, now that's all time, and that's time that you're not making money.
Right.
Another thing that I need to focus on getting together for those reasons is an email list. Even I didn't understand the weight of an email list, because it kind of almost feels outdated in a sense, but it's not at all. I mean, emails totally get me to go look at their site, and I haven't looked at their site in a while. Like, oh, maybe I will go look. Oh, that's right, I need to order more or whatever. But if something happens, say, another thing that's happening is your Instagram gets hacked, or your Facebook gets hacked. If, say, you have to start a whole new one, if you have an email list, now you can tell everybody, hey, go find me here. Maybe not every single person's going to find you again, but it's better than the zero who may find you on your new, and starting, from scratch, to zero. So yeah, and then having that Instagram, having Facebook, having a Facebook group. If that
being a presence is in many places as you can. Right. So it doesn't to get eyes on you. And then second, in case something happens to one, you have these other to fall back on.
Well, and there's different customers per each one of those
platforms.
My Facebook, I think I actually have, I don't have more on my Facebook. I did for a while. I had more followers on my Facebook than I did on Instagram. But my engagement on Facebook is like 0. And I mean, it's not 0, but it's pretty low. And my engagement on Instagram is much higher. And then also the people are different. Like my Instagram tends to be the younger crowd. And the Facebook tends to be the older crowd, definitely like a little bit older than me, and maybe not quite my mom's age or about. And so it's different audiences. I think even what's his name? I think it starts with a K. The guy from Sticks and Doodles that we had on.
Oh.
Is it Kevin? I probably just gave him a new name.
Yeah,
Me
I'm
too. I'm really bad. Anyway, the guy from Sticks and Doodles, he was saying how his followers on Instagram are more makers, and the following on Facebook was like people who were actually buying his product. Right. And so he had to, direct the posts differently because you get different engagement and there's different audiences on each one, and TikTok as well, which TikTok is a topic for a whole nother day, because who knows if it'll stay around or it's gonna be around for a while or not. But doing the best you can with all of those. None of this is saying that like you have to be killing it on your Etsy, your website needs to be set up, ready to go. Your Facebook and Instagram and TikTok all need to be top notch. At the very least, have them.
Right. Have your name on there so that like when you post,
what I call it, pee on them.
Yeah.
When we were thinking of your
right, because it can be overwhelming to thinking of, man, I gotta post different things across different platforms.
Right.
Then I gotta actually come up with products.
Right.
I gotta make products. Like it's all, especially when
take it one thing at a time.
Right. Especially when it's like it's one person, you might not be able to hire someone to run your social media or or you don't have anyone who can help you with it.
Yeah.
Maybe not hire them, but like, can you post for me as a favor?
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait until we get to that point, because, as it is now, the podcast, posting about the podcast, I need to post about it in our group.
Right.
I need to post it on our actual Facebook page. Then I need to post about it on Instagram. Then I share the Instagram reel to my stories. Then I post it to TikTok. And then I also post it to YouTube Shorts.
Right.
Now, it's all pretty much the same exact thing for the most part.
Right.
But I have a different format for Facebook and Facebook page, Facebook group and Facebook page. Then I have the Reels format. And then I have to add the captions, because captions are king right now.
Right.
And then I have to save it after I add the captions, which I always forget that step, and I get so pissed off because then if I forget to save it before posting it, now it has the Instagram logo. Well, then now that ruins it for TikTok and YouTube. So you either need to do the captions again, which hopefully there wasn't a lot of like corrections or whatever, and resave it. Or find one of those annoying apps that removes the logo for you. And the last few times I've tried to use those are like really glitchy. So if you have one, if you know of one that's not glitchy, let me know. But even then, like I have to have a slightly different caption for Instagram and TikTok, because you can't do the links in Instagram and TikTok, but you can on Facebook. Right. And YouTube, like the character spacing or the character allowance on the shorts is like 100 or something, which is really low. Yeah. Compared to the others. And so I have to kind of do like 3 different captions, and it's a lot of copying and pasting, but there's still some manual work, and it still takes me 30 minutes to an hour. And that's if I'm like focused and not distracted by kids, TV, orders, a million other things. So it really can be time consuming. So you have to find, which ones are the most benefit for where you're at right now. And where we're at with the podcast is trying to grow our following. And so we definitely need to be posting. We need to be posting on all platforms, because we don't know where we're going to find our next new listener, our next new patron, or whatever.
Are you tired of endlessly joining jump rings?
There's gotta be an easier way.
Are your wrists aching after numerous orders? Introducing Keychain Thingies, the time-saving solution for anyone making keychains.
It's so fast and easy.
These revolutionary plastic thingies make large or multiple orders a snap. So easy, even a child can do it.
That was so easy.
So what are you waiting for? Go to keychainthingies.com and order now. Keychain Thingies will change your life. However, they should not be used to cure any medical ailments, repair broken relationships, or help lose weight. Do not use Keychain Thingies unless you want to save time and aggravation.
So, and another thing like that I forget to do all the time is posting and asking people to subscribe. Sometimes, yes, they'll subscribe on their own, but most of the time you have to say, hey, subscribe.
So if you're listening or watching and haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button on YouTube.
Because like I did it the other day and we were at 829.
Yeah.
And then now I think we're up to like 845.
Yeah, 45, 46. Yeah.
So, and that's just by saying, hey,
remember.
right. And I posted on, my business Facebook, the podcast. Sorry, the business Instagram, the podcast Instagram, and I posted in like the Laser Me This group, and I think just maybe the podcast group or something. Not too many. It was like 4. I didn't go too crazy. But doing quick little posts like that, because that was actually quick. It was taking a screenshot of our current counts, attaching our link so that they can go subscribe, and then saying, hey, please subscribe. So keep it simple. But that got us, 15, 16 something subscribers. And our goal is to get to 1,000. So, test those out. Testing out certain times of day. I've posted a couple times. I'll post at 2, 4 in the afternoon because that's a good time for me, and get crickets. Sometimes I post at 9, 10 o'clock and it blows up. Yeah. Sometimes I'll then post again at 9 and 10 o'clock and crickets. But you find the one that, kind of does the best results consistently.
Wednesday at 9 blew up. Thursday at 9, crickets.
Really. And the other thing too is that the apps kind of help you a little bit, and they'll give you like a general idea of the good times to post. Mine is kind of worthless because it basically says from like noon to midnight every single day, and I'm like, okay, great. So
nice
don't
12-hour window.
Don't post in the morning. Yeah. But yeah, just you never know when something is going to happen to one of those, and so you need to have them at least started and ready to go, so that if something does happen, maybe you're not active on both, you don't have to start new construction from the ground up, getting it ready to go. You're at least a couple steps in that direction.
And to go back to you saying that, like, when you can't focus on everything, it's like we're talking about your files and your design making. That's taking a back seat. Because thingies have taken off. And then you also threw in a course during that time, and all these and the podcast and all, so all this is taking time away from designing and it's taking away from like my tutorials. I definitely something that I need to work on in the next, couple weeks or month or so is coming up with some kind of schedule that I can dedicate, so much time to each one. Maybe on Tuesdays, I record a reel for my course. So maybe I'm not sitting out there spamming it every single day. Or tutorial Tuesdays.
Right. But Heather used to do those.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But, maybe I'm not regularly, spamming it, but like I'm not doing anything now. I posted a funny one the other day that it was like, it was this girl and she was like kind of awkward and she was trying to sell like lip gloss. And she was like, you should buy my lip gloss if you want your lip gloss popping like mine. So yeah, buy it. Whatever. It was like it was super cute and funny and adorable, but it was like awkward, and like that's me selling the course. Like I really do think it's a great course. I just am not the greatest at selling myself and selling someone on it. And
sounds like we need some testimonials.
We do, and I have them. I need to put them together, and I need to make it a priority, because if they don't know that it exists, or they don't know that there's been happy students and stuff, then they're
or if it's open all the time, because that's another thing.
Right, a lot of them close or open or So, but I want to work on making a schedule so that that at least maybe Mondays are crazy, so maybe Mondays are just whatever gets done, and it's keychain thingies, and then anything else is a bonus, right? And then maybe Wednesdays or Fridays I focus on file design or whatever, but finding some way to I think the fancy word for it is time blocking. What's his name with ridiculousness, Rob Dyrdek.
Oh yeah.
He's a pro at time
everything
blocking.
Has
everything, like a date with his wife or lunch with a friend or like anything, like probably his bathroom breaks and lunch breaks and all of that. Like they have to be like if he, you know what I mean?
Because they knock out not no pun intended, but a ridiculous amount of shows in one short amount of because he only has so much time to dedicate.
Isn't it something like ridiculousness? He records like some again, like you said, a ridiculous amount of episodes, like
in a row,
200 something. But it's
total.
only only a small percent.
Yeah, like a 4% of his
200 episodes is 4% of his time.
Yeah, because like in a month, I think they shoot like 5 or however many episodes like back to back.
Right.
So yeah.
And so I kind of want to like lean into that a little bit more because I know it's possible. I know that not each one is going to be like skyrocketing and, you know, potentially like just killing it. But at the same time, what's happening now is like my course in file design, they're just non-existent.
Right.
If they sell,
because you follow,
just
everyone
a bonus.
Because everyone like follows the money. So like, you know, thingies is like really popping. Everyone is buying thingies.
It's a squeaky wheel.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I gotta keep up with inventory. I gotta keep up with pulling orders and sending them out and on time and everything like that. So like almost all your energy
Are you recording?
Goes into that. Yes, I'm recording.
I looked at the screen.
Now we're like
it's better than nothing, right?
We're like half an hour.
I look over and because I looked this direction, I didn't see the red timer. And I was like,
yeah, I'm recording.
Okay, sorry. Continue. Hey, I just gotta check. It's happened a few times
it has
before.
Happened. Yes, it has. But no, I'm recording on all ends.
All right.
But so you focus all your time on what's selling at the moment,
right?
And all these other things that can potentially also sell in the moment,
right?
Have to take a back seat because you want to make sure that all your customers are happy with what they're buying now,
right?
So you kind of like not forget, but it's in the back of your mind, but it's in the back of your mind. So it's like to find time to bring that up a little further so you can dedicate a little more time to hopefully when this either dries out or people have moved on, you have something to like relaunch.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I mean, it just having good processes in place helps you do more as well. So that's one thing that I've been working on a lot lately is fixing the process of keychain thingies. So, you know, for a while, everything was in my office and then I ran out of room for everything to be in my office. And so then we had like some things around the corner in the shipping station. And then some things were in my office. And then it was kind of backwards because you were the one who was filling most of the orders and you did that at the shipping station.
Right.
But then you're having to get some there, some in my office. Right. And, you know, we set up the shipping station initially to really do all the shipping from there. But my computer is in my office. I don't have a wireless, you know, shipping label printer yet. And it's not air conditioned, either of them, but there's a fan in my office. And so it would get really hot and I never wanted to ship from the shipping station because it was hot. And so it was like all of the packing materials and all the stuff were there. And so they were kind of like, they ended up not on purpose, but being like flip-flopped. They really should have been the other way. You know, all the inventory where all the shipping stuff was and all the shipping stuff in my office, because that's where I actually do most of the shipping. Right, exactly. Because you pull all the items for me and bring them to me. And just having them in containers that also makes pulling them quicker, because a lot of the containers that I had at the time, because it's what fit the bookshelf that I was using, they had lids. And so then sometimes, because I had several things within there, they were also then in a Ziploc. And so, you know, some of the less common stuff, like a perfect example were the gummy bear charms. Right. There's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 colors, and then I'd put them all in one container, but I'd have to separate them by color. And so then you have to take the container out, which is stacked either on top of or below another one. Take the lid off, open the baggie, take out however many you need, and then put all that back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a whole lot more than being like, oh, I need a pink one.
Right.
And now you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, a lot of that was due to not knowing what's going to sell. Like, you don't want to have a dedicated home to something you're only going to sell these 25, 50, whatever number you had to buy of them to make sense.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to only run this for one time.
Right.
So it's like, I don't want to make a home for them when I'm
at the same time though, it makes more. So I have some things that sell every single day, and I have some things that sell, you know, once every couple months, right? And I swear, there's those the braided leather ones.
Yep.
Every time I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of those. Someone will buy 5.
Yep.
And then I have the guilt of, if they like those 5 and they come back to buy more,
I want to have them.
I want to have them for them. And so there's been several times where I've thought about, you know, getting rid of certain items, and I haven't for that reason.
Yeah, because I mean, I've also noticed, like, we'll sell, I don't know, like, no balloon dogs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden everyone's buying balloon dogs.
And it wasn't like I posted, maybe someone else did, and we just don't know.
I'll even say, like, hey, did you post about these? Because I've noticed everyone's buying them now. Like the last 4 orders, everyone's had like 1 or 2 of them. And you're like, nope, I haven't posted
those adorable little coffee keychains. I swear it'll random, and it has to be someone else posting them.
Right.
Because like I'll sell none. I don't advertise them.
Or maybe just someone buying thingies and saying, oh, what else? You know, oh, there's some other things.
Right.
And then scrolling
Still
through
those, like,
picking up one here,
it was
one
like
there.
3 or 4 different orders that had those coffee charms. And that went months without anybody buying anything. And so I just wanted to make it overall easy to grab these items, because the faster we can get those items, the more time we have to dedicate to other stuff.
Well,
maybe
to pull more.
cleaning up the website, or finding more items to list or whatever. But those like quality inventory containers are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And then
finding the right size, as we found out, is
oh my
hard
God.
as well too.
I had to order a bunch and then return the ones that, because like I'm also really, really bad at like, 5 inches by 5 inches by 11. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that's either much bigger or much smaller than I thought.
Right.
And you know, I'll even get out the measuring tape, and I still I can't picture it until it's like in my hands and in my space.
you need it. You need the physical thing so that you can fill whatever you decide. And then you're like, oh wait, this is way too big for this little thing. And I thought I had more. I thought it was going to take up more space.
That's the other thing too, is that one, it needs to fit the space you have allotted for it, right? Then it needs to make sense for that item. Right. So there's a lot of the like little metal items, which thankfully those can fit in those tiny little containers. But some of them, like the basketball keychains, they take up more space. Right. And so, you know, 40 of this and 40 of that doesn't take up the equivalent amount of space. Yeah. And
like
right
feathers
now,
and stones.
Right. And right now the wristlets, like they share a bin. We put like 6 wristlets in one bin together. And ideally I'd love them all to have their own.
That's a lot of
right, because I mean
a lot of wristlets.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options, which you know is great. But and then it sucks switching from one system to another, because you have to switch spent all of that money on those nice containers. I don't want to get rid of them because I spent good money on quality ones. Right. And now I don't need them for that purpose anymore. And before
you know it, you're filled with storage containers.
Yeah. So
nothing to put in them that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just, and it's hard. I mean, you know, because like business was doing great, but then I spent all this money on inventory and the new inventory system, and I'm like, where did that money go? Yeah. But it'll
nice rack system,
right? Yeah. I mean, it looks awesome, and it'll look great. I'm not done yet,
right? And it's practical, and it makes things faster, and it makes it easier to find. So yeah, I mean, it has its place. Yeah, it costs, but again, it's a one-time cost.
Yeah.
You bought it, we set it up, and then now we're done for a while.
Right.
Until you decide to restructure everything.
Yeah, right.
Or have another idea.
Oh my God. And something, don't do what I did and get 30 new items and expect
at
to get
one
them
time.
at one.
And then take all the pictures to post them and then find somewhere to put them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was a great idea. So next time.
And there's still new products that came in yesterday.
Yeah, but see, I was smart because since I bought so many, there wasn't as many to buy.
Yeah, you bought everything.
Yeah,
is what
I
you're
did,
saying.
Pretty much.
They don't sell anything else. You've bought like 25
they don't sell
of
anything
each.
else that I want
Yet
is key.
And then that's the other thing. The supplier's like, oh, look what we have. You want 25, 50 of these? And you're like, no, put them in.
Yeah, he wears me down.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, so it definitely was a lot easier, 3 to 5 new ones as opposed to 20, 25. And then the harder part is too, like the longer I take to get them up, the longer they're not selling, the longer people don't even know that they exist. And now trying for them to see all of the new items because it's such a big drop that like they're going to miss something because there's so much. And so now comes the part where I need to tell them what I have and I need to like highlight one thing so that they can see that it exists, give it a little bit more of
product of the month.
I'm going to have to do of the day or the week at this point because there's so freaking many. If I do the month, we'll be into the years from now before
product of the week.
Yeah.
52 weeks in a year.
I might even have to do like product of the next 3 days because man. Yeah. So hell, if I did one a month, it's going to take me a
paycheck highlight.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks.
You're right. Oh man. So yeah, and it just, I mean, I definitely put a little bit of too much on my plate, and now it just is, breaking it down in little bite-size chunks and giving, again, maybe not each one gets 100% of my attention, but even a little bit is more than they're getting now. So that is definitely a downside to, I guess, diversifying so much because it almost makes it so that none of them can really like skyrocket up on their own. They're all kind of like not mediocre, but doing okay. They could all be doing a lot better if I was able to dedicate more time to each one. And so that's where I'd say don't add on too much because it might actually take away from the stuff that you've already created. Like get one working, get one doing well, find a system for it so that then you can add something else in without hopefully not affecting that first one too much. But I think I saw something where like, the typical, rich businessman or businesswoman or business person. Whatever the term is now.
However you identify.
None of them have one revenue stream. It's like multiple. 6 to 12 or something like that. And some of them may make $50 a month. Some of them may make several thousand a day or a week or whatever. They're all going to have their different levels. But having so many of them that, do varying, what do you call it? Revenues. It all adds up. And so that's where we want to get to the point that we have
multiple streams of income.
And again, it's good because if one of them fails or falls apart, you have several to pick you back up, and your whole world isn't maybe hopefully shattered.
Maybe not even fail, but if something slows down and something else, you have something else that can potentially pick up, or you can go ahead and promote across everything. Like if your sales are just down, but you have sales coming in from here, there, and the other, you can just go ahead and post about everything. And then hopefully, it's like the rule, like, the numbers game. If you have 1 or 2 products to sell and then, sales go down, you only have 2 things to market. Whereas if you're selling 5 to 10 and sales decline, you can push those 5 to 10 and, 2 or 3 hit, and now you're back up in the green.
True. And like you said, the numbers game that comes, that reminds me of Emily's shop that she's doing now. And that it took, I forget how many listings she said. Was
29.
It 20? Oh, yeah, that's right.
29.
You edit for her.
Yeah.
So it took 29 listings for her to get one that like really took off. And that doesn't mean that nobody was ordering the other ones.
Right.
They just weren't like a hot bestseller like the 29th item. And, we'll see all the time, and you're new, and you may not know better, but we'll see all the time, I have 5 items in my shop.
Nothing selling.
Nothing selling.
Right.
And it's like, well, one, because you look new, because you don't have so many. So then comes the trust and the fear of, can you give a quality product, quality customer service, all of that. And then there's people need options. And if they don't have the options, and just the way Etsy's algorithm works too, they'll push you more when you have more listings. Things, I think I remember when I did my my file shop and seeing a huge change in my sales once I hit 50 listings. I saw like a bump, a visual bump in my sales once I hit that 50th listing, just because there were so many for people to choose from. It was probably, in their search more often. And so then it got them to my shop, and maybe what they clicked on isn't what they bought, but they saw something else that they wanted to buy.
Well, I think it's also that fine line. Like you want to add more listings, but you're afraid, what if 3 of these take off and I can't deliver? Right. It's like I can make these 5. If demand comes and I have these 5, I can make them. I'm good at these 5. So if the demand is there, I can. But if it's not, and then how far do you extend before you start selling yourself short? It's what is it? And then it comes the diminishing returns. Like it's like I would love to offer 50, but I'm just starting off. Yeah. And I can't offer 50. I can only offer these 5 in case. So it's that, like, so if they're not taking off, add a little more, because those 5 aren't taking off. Right. So or just not right now. Just not right now. Right. Yeah. That's the other thing. And then timing. And then it's always going to come. The timing is always going to be bad. So you'll have those 5, nothing happens, you add 5 more, and all of a sudden all 10 are taking off, and you're like, how am I going to fill all these orders? Right. But that's a good problem to have. Yes. As opposed to the 5. There's ways to go around it. You can find help. You can find family, friends, outsource. You increase your production time. Just to get you through the storm. Increase the price a little bit to slow them down, so that you're still getting orders, but maybe you're not getting as many. Right. And now you're getting paid more for each order that you do. Yeah, because if you double it, you only need half of the shoppers in order to make that same amount of money. Right. And as we've talked about before, you get different customers for different price points. Yeah. You definitely don't want to sell yourself short, because you're going to burn out. Yeah. And it's not going to be sustainable over time. Like we spoke about, you get something for $5 and the same product is being sold for $15. Yeah. You're going to look for the flaws in those 5, even if it's the same exact supplier that both companies are getting from. Yep. You're going to look at the $5 ones. You're going to go into it looking for the flaws. Yeah. Like, this is too good to be true. What's wrong with it? And then you're going to find opposed to the $15 one, you're just going to be like, oh, and then there might be a flaw. I'm like, oh, well, that's probably because they make these in like, like, you give excuses to it because you spend so much, but you're not going to contact, the seller, as opposed to the $5 one. So yeah, you definitely get a different kind of customer, but you get not a different kind of customer. You get a different mindset for the product, with pricing. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have much else on the. Diversify. That was a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of do as I say, not as I do. Right. We struggle with that ourselves, and if it wasn't for time, I would have a million projects, or a million hobbies, a million different pieces of my business. I would do, we want a fiber laser down the road, but we'd have to be really careful and make sure, like, okay, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to make sure that it sells? How are we going to make sure that we dedicate enough time to it? Right. Sublimation I've considered, but I'm like, I've heard, it's a little bit more, it needs more attention, because, like, the printers tend to
to jam or you know kind of they need to be running all the time and that kind of stuff. And so
we even talk about tumblers.
Pros and cons.
We even talk about tumblers and how whatever, and we have the pie burn and so that takes a back seat as well because there's so many other things that we like have to do. Like, I mean, this takes up an hour.
Yeah.
Just of us both, and then editing it and like you were saying, posting it. And then you know pulling orders in the morning for keychain thingies.
Right.
You know that takes its time. It takes time for me to pull it.
Right.
You to like double check and ship them out. That takes time. So it's like everything takes time out of your day. It's just like you were saying, blocking it out. Saying, I mean, and we kind of have like, you know, mornings is for pulling keychain thingies or whatever. And then we did have a schedule for this, but the past few days have been crazy and it's fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just finding time for everything. And
another thing I'm starting to do is lists, because I can be really, I swear all the time, lists of like things to do lists.
Yeah. You always do to-do lists.
Yeah, no, I don't do them as much as I should for my business.
Oh,
yeah,
because we live by lists.
Yeah, and it doesn't fall.
It doesn't translate to work.
And it should.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm also bad at them because like I'm not good at keeping them organized. I don't know how to like. I feel like there should be one for like the day, one for the week, one for the month, one for like sometime. You know what I mean?
I remember just going
mixed.
Just going to the conference. There was lists and sub lists. There was.
Yeah. And so I don't do
things
that
I
with
need to make, things we need to bring, things we need to bring for our like clothes and stuff. Things they were like lists, and then there were lists within the lists.
There was. Well, and it's weird, but I don't do that with my business much.
That
and so
weird.
A lot of times, like it'll be 4 p.m, and I'll be like shutting down or like getting ready to go pick up the boys, or just getting settled on the couch at night and be like, I didn't respond to that email, or I didn't do that tutorial. Because like I sit there at the end of the day and I'm like, I think I've accomplished everything, that I can think I was going to accomplish today. And then when I remember when I no longer can.
Right. Oh, I forgot to do that.
Yeah.
Earlier today.
Right.
When they were open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the people I was supposed to call yesterday that I didn't call. So I need to call them today. So things like that. If I don't put it on a list, I'm going to forget
or
to
in the
do
calendar.
It.
That's another thing we do a lot. Calendar.
God, and even then, man, like
the calendar say because you were looking for a transaction because you were sending things to the Gala group, and you're like, what did we spend in February?
What
and
did
then
we spend $300?
Right, and I'm like, well, let me look at the calendar.
Went to the bank that day.
Yeah, and like, we transferred. Yeah.
That was genius because I wouldn't have even have thought to look at the calendar.
Yeah. Well, I was like, maybe because again, she puts everything in the calendar.
Oh, I have
everything
to.
Had right.
Well,
so
even
she has to, but then she doesn't check it.
I'll still overbook. I double booked myself the other day because I look really quick and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good.
We don't have anything. Yeah.
And then like one of them, I double booked my lashes and my nails because my nails I put in there as an hour. Well, it's not an hour. And so then when I booked my eyelashes, I booked it for like, 20, 30 minutes after my nails. Well, I wouldn't have been done.
Right.
So it's another thing I put it in the calendar, but I didn't put it in the calendar properly because it's like a couple hours. And so, that wasn't actually
whenever
free time.
I have to make an appointment for something, I check the calendar, and if it's free, I still call and say, hey,
do we have anything
there's
on this
nothing
day?
on the calendar, because she'll say, oh, let me look at the calendar. I'm like, no, there's nothing on the calendar, but is there something in your calendar that's not in our calendar? Yeah. You just gotta keep trying each day. Yeah, that's it.
Improvements and
that's
practicing.
Story of the game.
Because and what is it? It takes like 20 days to like break a habit or to create a new one.
I think it's 2 weeks to create one.
I thought it was 20. I think it was like 21 days. Anyway, it's 2+ weeks.
Yeah.
To create or break a habit.
Right.
And so we have a lot of habits I want to create.
Unless you're JR, then it just takes one time.
Like what?
Huh? Like anything.
Yeah.
Like JR, what? Like a new song at bedtime.
Oh my God.
You do it one time, you have to do it every time. Like the check-ins.
Yeah.
we started that to kind of live. Now we got to do check-ins. All yeah.
I don't think I'll ever be able to close that door.
I mean, we closed the door eventually.
Although he did surprise me the other day. And
he wanted halfway.
He wanted me to close it halfway. I was like, hey, it's something. Like, and it was his idea. I wasn't pushing it.
Right.
And like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just, yep.
So yeah, the takeaway for this is to organize yourself.
And I have to give a shout out to Julie Did It.
Okay.
Julie.
Shout out to Julie.
From
Julie
the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only from the conference.
Well, yeah. But
yeah.
That's when you met her.
And then Lobo Designs, which
wearing her shirt.
I'm wearing her shirt.
All
I mean, we haven't talked to her.
I
We haven't talked to her in like forever because she's super busy now.
Right?
With everything. And
Eon.
She was supposed to be on the show like 15 times, and she hasn't been on the show again.
I know. That's another thing I need to do that I need to put on the list. It's not on my list, so I keep forgetting about it.
Mm-hmm.
Adding those damn hats to the website so that people can buy them.
These damn hats. So if you want to buy these damn hats, well, except for this one, can't buy this one. This one,
not that one either.
This was an exclusive.
This one.
Yeah, the Rally Black Project.
There's 3 different styles to choose from. I literally have the listing ready to go. Hold on, let me put that in my.
Got to put that on the list.
Because I'm gonna forget by the time we're done.
Got a list to list.
Hold on.
Just do like what we do at Echo. Add hats to the list. That's what we do for groceries. That's how we do our grocery list. We're out of mail. Echo, add mail to the list.
Well, because if we wait until we grab our phone to put it on, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So we have a snitch in the kitchen.
We have a snitch in the kitchen and
in your office. Yeah. And I mean, we have iPhones, so Siri's a snitch too.
Right. Snitches everywhere.
Snitches everywhere.
Snitches don't get stitches in this situation because they actually help us.
Kind of. Until they work against us.
Can't worry about that right now. Do we have any like life updates?
We have a lot of life updates, but we can't talk about any of them.
Any that we can share?
No.
I don't think so. Do they know about grandma? How's grandma doing?
So my grandmother was in the hospital. If you remember, a few weeks back, I had COVID. At the same time, my grandmother got COVID, and my mom, family, and my brother, who I think my brother was patient zero.
We call him.
But my grandmother got the worst of it. She ended up in the hospital with pneumonia and complications with her diabetes and everything. She turned 88 at the hospital. I went, what was it, last Thursday? Thursday? Yeah. Last Thursday. So she was in, then she was out at a rehab, and then she went back in, and now she just got released to a rehab yesterday. And the rehab has been because she's been in bed for weeks.
Right.
So they want to make her mobile before she can go back home.
Yeah.
But all the doctors are saying she's doing a lot better. The pneumonia is like almost all gone.
Good.
I'm not sure if she's still testing positive.
Because she was last week.
She was last week, and she had a little bit of pneumonia in her lungs still from the COVID.
Right.
The fluid in her brain due to it has gone down.
Oh, good.
As well, and the neurologist or whatever just wants to do a follow up. But yeah, she's in a rehab facility that my mom likes.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, it's only been a couple days.
Well, and I mean, we've found out the hard way with both your grandma and my dad. My dad, he was in the hospital a couple months ago, and he went to a rehab facility, and he was there for like a day or two, and it wasn't good. It was worthless.
Right.
He went there to get like your grandma to get more strength, to get more mobile. Right. I mean, my dad is 6'5", so like if he's not stable, he's gonna go down. He's gonna go down hard.
Probably why you like giraffes.
Maybe because my dad is one.
Just thought about that.
But he went there, and they're supposed to get you out of bed like 3 times a day or something. And he's like, I got 45 minutes in 2 days.
Yeah.
He kept asking them, hey, can we go for a walk? Can we go for a walk? Because he's not allowed to walk without them.
Right.
And they kept saying, oh, we don't have enough staff, or we don't have enough people.
And at least he's of like sound mind to be like, hey, can I go for knowing he has to do that, and he wants to go home.
Right.
Is that where like my grandmother isn't really, so they have to come and do it for her.
Right.
So if they don't, she doesn't know to come. She doesn't and she doesn't know to complain about, hey, when are we going for a walk or anything like that. My mom has to do it, and my mom did do it a lot at the other one, which she didn't like, and I think might have been part of the reason why she went back.
Right.
Because they weren't on top of her drinking water, so her kidney levels went down. So they put her back in the hospital because of that to check on them. And but this one, my mom said, doesn't look too nice from the outside, but the staff is really friendly and the staff is cool. And you know, that's when I made the joke today, like it's on the inside that counts.
Yeah, right.
Oh
my God, can we talk about for a second? Your
my mom calls.
She calls at 11:20 every single day.
Around 11:20. So 11
it's 11-ish every single day.
She calls.
He puts it on speakerphone.
And there is an alarm going on.
So loud. And she's like,
oh,
normal.
you can hear that?
Hey, no, she's hi. How are you doing?
Like normal. I'm
normal
like,
conversation. I'm like,
fine. How are the things over there?
Did she just rob a bank? Like what?
Do you need to take care of something? Like, do you want to call me back? Because I mean, the alarm. It's like, oh, you hear that?
I
closed the door. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I don't know how you don't hear. You think you don't hear that?
It was
clear as day. It was almost overwhelming her talking.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, somebody opened the back door. Like they were taking stuff out. I'm like, yeah, stealing maybe. You might want to like.
Are the
alarm?
Cops on the way?
That alarm is it's an alarming
for
sound.
a reason.
It's an alarming sound. It wants attention. I think someone should give that attention.
It was so funny. It was like literally like havoc is going on. It sounds like havoc is going on in the background.
It's that meme of like The Office where it's all on fire and the person like just sitting there typing like normal, like nothing's happening.
Mom.
That was so what was going on. He's like, oh, grandma's fine. She's doing well. This and that. And meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, but what about the place? Because it sounds like either someone's robbing it or it's burning down or something's going on.
Something's happening.
But yeah, it was very funny trying to have a regular conversation with the craziness going on in the background.
Oh man.
But
it was good.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll do it. Stay tuned for news and
lots
and updates. And when we can update you, it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
So but for now, that'll do it for the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.